The WNBA needs to make some changes to their All-Star Weekend and proactively get ahead of what's happening in the NBA and their All-Star Weekend.
I don't want to talk bad about, All-Star Weekend, but there need to be some changes made. This is not the All-Star Weekend that we've been accustomed to. When we talk about ratings, when we're talking about, global ratings, online presence, we're not giving the fans what they want.
The next WNBA All-Star Game will have the most attention the league has received in probably its entire existence. But if they leave it as is, we'll lose all this momentum, we'll have stars that don't want to participate, and multiple desperate attempts at viewership in just a few years. The 2024 NBA All-Star Game had the second lowest ratings in its history. One of the game's biggest names, Kevin Durant, went as far as to say the NBA should scrap the events altogether, and the league's best dunkers wouldn't even consider taking part without a $1 million prize attached.
But hey, what the f do I know? I ain't watch it. I did not watch it. I'm sorry.
I didn't watch the entire weekend.
Wow.
I didn't didn't watch.
Could this have been the worst NBA All-Star Game of all time?
So how do we fix the WNBA All-Star experience before it suffers the same fate? WNBA All-Star Weekend needs about an 80% overhaul. Keep the main All-Star Game, but change the way voting works. Not only add more smaller events, but try new ones until you find ones that work, and do a whole lot more for the players. And while that's mainly referring to money, they need bigger trophies, respect for their time, and input on a weekend that was originally built to highlight them. The WNBA didn't have their first All-Star Game until their third season. It was at Madison Square Garden in New York, and a little over 18,000 fans attended. The great Whitney Houston sang the national anthem, and the stars were out. Superstar Lisa Leslie was the first All-Star MVP, really setting the tone in that first game, and future games. The West beat the East 79-61, and really that was the whole shebang. No three-point contest, no skills challenge, no orange carpet. Unless you were one of the lucky 18,000, you saw that on TV, and that was it. The three-point contest wasn't actually official until 2006, and the skills competition wasn't introduced as a yearly event until 2019. So for 7 years, it was just the game. For another 13 years, the league would go back and forth on holding the event or not. So the W wasn't doing much to gain new viewers with that setup. Desperate for viewership in general, the NBA would showcase some of the best WNBA players during NBA All-Star Weekend in the Shooting Stars competition. From 2004 to 2015, a WNBA player would participate with a current NBA player and a retired NBA player in a shootout. It was pretty strategic. The teams consisted of players from the same city, purposely putting the city's WNBA player on the same team. In 2004, NBA All-Star Weekend was hosted in Los Angeles. Specifically for the shooting competition, the cities of Detroit, Los Angeles, and San Antonio would be represented. So Cheryl Ford played for the Detroit Shock, and she was paired with the Detroit Piston Chauncey Billups and retired Piston John Sally. Nikki Teasley played for the LA Sparks, and she was paired with LA Clipper Marco Jaric and retired Clipper Terry Cummings. Jennifer Azzi played for the San Antonio Silver Stars, and she was paired with Manu Ginobili and retired Spurs Steve Kerr. Now LA did win the first competition, but it was with the Lakers Sparks combo. Superstar Lisa Leslie, LA Laker Derek Fisher, and retired Laker Magic Johnson. This was one of the most creative events to date, and it was pretty popular because they kept it as an event at NBA All-Star Weekend for just over a decade. In 2004, Diana Taurasi won as a rookie with the Phoenix Suns. Becky Hammon won on two separate teams in 2008 and 2010. Cappie Pondexter won with the New York team the very last year it was formatted by city. The last 3 years, Swin Cash won with Chris Bosh and Dominique Wilkins. And the year the event was canceled, they really wanted to defend their title. And at that point, it was pretty much a staple. And for the WNBA, they were able to showcase some pretty impressive talent. MVP Lisa Leslie, Rookie of the Year Diana Taurasi, a straight hooper in Becky Hammon, the number 2 pick in Cappie Pondexter, and a 3-time champion in Swin Cash. These were perfect players to try and bring fans over to the W. The WNBA players usually outperform their NBA partners throughout the years with this event. And an event like this shows me how much NBA players respect WNBA players and how many would be willing to do something similar today. So it was pretty disappointing when they canceled the event and didn't have anything planned to replace replace it. It was just over. Which is why it's the perfect time for the W to play with the weekend and make it a must-see event. So what steps can the W take to make this happen? There are 3 categories that need different levels of attention. First is voting. In the beginning, fan votes held 100% weight in choosing the All-Star Game starters, with the coaches choosing the reserves. Today, fan votes hold 50% weight, with the remaining 50% going to the players and the media. Coaches still choose the reserves. The first problem with this is, as a fan, you pick 4 guards and 6 bigs. This can immediately be changed. Fans should be able to pick their top 10 players regardless of position, or at least do a minimum of 2 bigs if the season is short-handed on some all-star centers. But more specifically, the fans should be able to vote for the other events as well, especially something like the skills event where anyone should be able to participate. Let the fans pick from the players who want to be at All-Star and participate in a side event, especially if they're not a part of the All-Star Game itself. Now, to add to this, the W should add some more side events. This is a weekend-long party. Keep the main game the main event, but they can add a one-on-one day. Fill the day with players that want to go for the prize and air it alongside orange carpet interviews and fan video chats with players. They could add a 2-on-2 competition. The NBA already planted the seed at their last All-Star weekend, so the W can take that and run with it. Again, let the fans vote. That tells them exactly who we want to see go head-to-head. Alyssa Thomas and Dejanay Carrington versus DeWanna Bonner and Nylissa Smith. I would love to see Lexi Hull and Sophie Cunningham go up against Marina Mayberry and JC Sheldon. Show us Kelsey Plum and Kate Martin going up against any 2 Las Vegas aces. Now that's straight entertainment. If a 5-on-5 is added, it can also be a side event. Not too long, but that's where they can do an international game. The NBA may attempt this in the near future to try to inject some pride into their main game, but they're really trying to vamp up the viewers, especially with this international angle. It would be interesting to see the W give that format a try, as it would be a different game and we could use a lot of rookies and sophomores, selective vets, but again, players outside of the main game and with some fan voting included. The 2025 All-Star Weekend is in Indiana and it's centered around the Fever and one of the best shooters in the league. They could have a half-court shootout, individual players, team format, or just fan voting. Because almost every team has some type of social media post where the players are just chucking half-court shots at the end of practice. So even if the Asias and Sabrinas don't want to, one of the players that do want to participate should be able to play. And again, you can let the fans decide. Social media will be ablaze if Sydney Colson and Rakia Jackson were asking their followers to vote them into this type of shootout or a 2-on-2 competition. And to take it a step further, each team could have an event tailored to their city and team when they host, where again, the team itself is hyping up their event and giving it that time to shine, picking events their players are good at and giving them the best chance to win. While remembering there are so many former players that still want to be a part of the party. Cheryl Swoops, Tina Thompson, Teresa Weatherspoon, Simone Augustus, Lindsay Whalen. There has to be something creative we can do with literal living legends. The last great exciting crossover showed how beneficial it could be for both leagues. Sabrina Ionescu versus Stephen Curry, this was big. All of a sudden people cared. Steph could not lose. He better not lose. Sabrina wanted to win and she was going to do it playing by the men's rules. It was great. You had people carving out time just to sit down and watch this shootout. It was hyped up by Curry and Ionescu in interviews and shooting practice. All the podcasts were talking about it, every sports outlet. It was unforgettable. I truly believe All-Star should be fluid like this and really for both leagues to capitalize on. And then the last thing to address would be the players directly, because this is technically their free time, so the league has to make it worth it for them too. There are a few directions they can go in, but it has to be worth it for them to show up and want to be there the entire weekend. If they pick a one-on-one competition, it needs to have at least $250,000 prize money to match or exceed what they offered at Unrivaled. Their trophies need to be so much bigger and a little more creative. With the 2-on-2s being a little bit spicy, give them wrestling belts and again, more prize money. And then beyond money, the players in the W like to dress. They love the tunnel fits and looking the best, so let them. An orange carpet event where the best dressers get to go off while we cut back and forth to a shootout or a celebrity game would be extremely entertaining. Unrivaled showed up and showed out for the players. In addition to the money, they gave them ways to express themselves and have fun with the fans, so the players are literally telling the W what else they can be compensated with. The WNBA's All-Star Weekend isn't broken yet, but if they're not careful, it can end up like the NBA's. No nuance, no extras, and stars that don't even want to participate in the dunk contest. The best dunkers in the NBA don't even want to dunk in competition, which I will admit is what the NBA has over the WNBA. The WNBA does not have a dunk contest yet, if they'll ever get one. Honestly, they just need to find their version, not necessarily an actual dunk contest, but something just as exciting to pair along with an All-Star game. Because even if you missed everything, you were tuning into the dunk contest for the NBA. That ended up being their bread and butter for about a 5 to 10 year stretch there. So while we can't have a dunk contest again yet, the W can find the event that makes it their own. Let it breathe and have different events for a few years. Let the players and teams come up with some fun ideas. Allow the fans to vote on players outside of the All-Star game itself. It might be easier to have the very elite play in the All-Star game and let everyone else that wants time in front of the camera to be able to do that, just in different ways. If Sydney Colson isn't in the All-Star game, she should still be a part of All-Star weekend in some way. If Paige Beckers isn't selected to play, she should still be a part of the weekend in more than one event. They should always have Caitlin Clark and Marina Mayberry mic'd up. I don't care if they're on the sidelines. They talk the best noise. The whole point is to showcase your players and be as entertaining as possible. The WNBA can have an All-Star completely different than the NBA's and get the buy-ins from its players before too much money has them not wanting to show up at all. And right now, they have the eyes. The fans are watching. It's on the W now to deliver the action.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, players.